go. All right. So this is the tier 2 swag. This should be inside of my sub epic on. Oh, why are you being silly? What was it called? I called it API. No.
I didn't see that you created that. I saw.
Why? Where are you? I literally just created this.
Oh, well, that's why I haven't seen it.
I don't know. I don't know why this isn't working. Maybe I didn't actually make it a sub epic. I probably just made it. I did. I just made it a regular issue is why. Okay.
It's a regular issue that aspires to be a sub epic.
It dreams. It dreams of being a sub epic. Where's my button? Convert to epic. Great. All right. And then I can modify and we can add in the issues that you created. Okay. We'll update. What?
And we can change any of those based on the new planning and thinking that you've done.
Okay.
Recently. I don't know if that will be needed, but
yeah, I did some work on it. Let's see. So those should be there. Update. Why? I tried out the new like transfer this issue thing, and I'm wondering if ZenHub's not compatible with it.
I haven't tried that yet, but the related issues beta thing has already saved me several times from making duplicate nonsense.
Yeah, it's really helpful. Here. Okay. We're getting there slowly but surely. So we've got this one. And then, yeah, so the general goal for today is we want to start making progress on this guy here. The point is we want to have the ability to do multiple levels of contributor contributions. And so the way that that's going to work is, maybe I should just type this out. So we want to have multiple levels of contributor contributions, or contribution rewards, I guess. Greater, so let's see, 1 to 4 PRs is
level 1.
Yeah, level 1. And then let's see, 5 plus PRs is level 2, and that is I don't know what the actual value is of these. I think they're roughly $30. And so in order to do that, we need
There are 2 doors between me and this dog. Hold on.
All right, so in order to get these, let's see, I'm just going to keep typing this out. We need 2 coupon codes, and we need to be able to associate those. We need to be able to associate those coupon codes with accounts in Shopify. And so the way that this works now, if we look...
So we want to really quickly just define coupon code, because that means 2 things, right? That means the coupon string and the associated Shopify tag, right?
Right. Well, yes. Well, kind of. So so the way that it works now, maybe let's see, what would be the easiest way to explain this? So right now you start by going to the store. And then in the store, you log in with GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have pull requests, we show a like claim your swag form. When you submit that form, you create a Shopify customer on our Shopify store, and that uses your email. And the Shopify customer is tagged with a contributor. And then we show you a discount code, and that discount code only works for customers who have the contributor tag. So what that means for us is that in the kind of the next iteration of this, we want all the steps to be more or less the same, except let's see, if you have 5 or more PRs, we need to add a second tag, and we'll just call that tag level 2. And if you have level 2, we need to return the second discount code. So this is kind of like workflow 1 here, is that we need to be able to add this second level of support, where right now we just say like, is the number of pull requests greater than 0? If so, add a contributor and return the discount code. And so we just need a second layer of logic that says, do they have more than one PR? Great, send the discount code. But if they have more than 5, send both discount codes, and we need to add that second tag. And so the code to do this is currently, let's get into
lib Shopify.
Yes. So lib Shopify. Well, actually, probably we should start at the piece that does the work. So in the resolvers, we have a, see, we're not using that one right now. We pull contributor information.
Yep.
And contributor information is this total contributions and pull requests. And so that gives us the information that we need to then do the Shopify customer creation. And because it requires us to create a Shopify customer, we made it a mutation. So we're sending data. So we pass in their GitHub username, email, first name, and whether or not they want to get email updates from us. We grab our GitHub org, Shopify discount code, some other stuff out of the, some other things out of the env. And then we check if they're a contributor by running this command that just checks whether or not their PR count is greater than 0. So this will need to change because it needs to now return like levels.
Level, yeah.
So I guess we can just start marking this up with to-dos. We'll need to return level. And then if they are a contributor, we make sure that they are invited to the GitHub org, which we do by checking their existing org affiliation. I guess we can click through to here. So we use our GitHub token, and then we make a call to get the team and the username. So we want to make sure that they're a member of the team. If they are a member of the team, then we return true. If they're not a member of the team, we get a non-200 status code, and then we have to do this like kind of goofy error catch. So if we throw an error, like they're not a member of the team, then we catch that error, and we check to see if it was a 404. because if it responds with a 404, that means that the member wasn't found, and we can then we add the team membership. So we just invite them to the team, and then we look to see what the state is. So if the state comes back active, excuse me, then we can say that this person's already a member of the team. So theoretically, this state should be impossible, because
Yeah.
or maybe it comes back as a 404 if they've already accepted it, because then there's no, that wouldn't be right. Might be worth testing. Probably not worth worrying about today. But so we basically, if they need to be invited, we invite them and make sure that they've got their GitHub organization membership. Because the problem that we were seeing is a lot of people who contributed to Gatsby before we launched the swag store hadn't gotten their org membership. And then if they went to try to claim their GitHub or their swag, they wouldn't be part of the org. And so there was confusion around the emails that they would get, because it was like, hey, go check out the team on GitHub, and then they wouldn't have access to it. And we wanted to make sure that everybody got in.
Yeah.
Then so we do that. That's a blocking call. And then we await for creating that Shopify customer. And so the Shopify customer that we create is done by taking in their username, email, first name, and whether or not they want the newsletter. And we have to send off this call to Shopify. The Shopify call that we send takes this big object here, and we add in the contributor tag. So this part needs to change. Include level 2 tag if necessary, or if qualified, I guess. And then these meta fields, like I send these in, but I don't think you can't query by them or anything. So I think we can drop this. And then we return that. So the actual call gets done by setting up a Shopify endpoint. The Shopify endpoint is just Shopify's API key and secret. And you have to build this really goofy looking URL with like basic auth built into it. So it's kind of a gross way to set that up, but that's what the docs say to do. And then down here back at create customer. So we get that Shopify URL, run the post with the customer data, and then on the way back, we check to see if we didn't get a 201, which is like the customer created message.
Yeah.
Then we do the same thing. We throw an error, we catch that error, and then we see if the customer already exists. So we try to look the customer up by their email. This feels super garbagey, because effectively what we're doing is we're duplicating a ton of work. Because we don't have a local database, we have to like make these calls every single time somebody logs into the store. So right now, if I go to the store and I log in, and it's going to show me my contributions, and it lets me claim my swag. So I've already claimed my swag, but when I do this, it's going to go to the store, look up my PRs, try to create a Shopify customer, fail, look up my Shopify number, do the research to get all that stuff back. Like all that's going to happen and come back, and it's just a lot of wasted compute time. So what we want to be able to do instead is like have a local database where we can store some of that information, so that if I make that request to get my discount codes, or even better, don't make me make that request. So we can only have that form display if we don't have a Shopify customer ID.
Yeah.
So what that would mean is we would need a get customer data. So I guess we can then come in here and start looking at what we want our schema to look like. So right now we have contributor information. I feel like I guess we could use that same contributor information. It's the total contributions and pull requests, and then we could extend that. What we had defined over, let's see, let me collapse these. What I did on that whiteboarding session yesterday was I started putting together more of like a CRUD level. So it was get contributor, and you would get the contributor by, I think the thing that we have that is pretty much universal is the GitHub username, and that's an ID. And the ID is just GraphQL's way of saying that it needs to be unique. So if you try to put two of the same thing in, it'd fail. And then that would give us back, and I wrote this down in here. So this is like my beginnings of a API map. So the get contributor, I'd originally said I email, but I think GitHub username is better because that's kind of like what we're using as our source of truth here is who committed the change. So what we have is the email, and that email should be unique. The GitHub username, which is going to be unique. The GitHub pull request count. Although I guess we could just store we don't want to store the pull request, do we? Because we don't want to duplicate GitHub's information, right?
Well, if someone claimed tier 1 and then logged back in, would we want to store the number or just recheck the pull request count?
So I think what we're going to want to do is like this. This will get pulled from GitHub every time. This can be stored. This can be stored. And then we also want the Shopify customer ID. And that would be an ID, but that's optional. That can be stored. And then we want the Shopify used discount codes. And that would be an array of string. And this can be stored.
And tags.
Actually, this, I think we need to pull this because we're not going to be able to update that from, like when they make an order, we won't know that information. So on every request, we'll need to pull this from Shopify. And then the tags, our UI actually doesn't care about the tags. Our UI only cares about them when we create customers. So the only reason that the tags exist is so that if somebody gives away the discount code, it doesn't matter. Like we didn't want to have to generate custom discount codes for each person.
Right, yeah.
So we just use that tag to effectively put somebody on the allowed list. So if you have a Shopify
Associated with
customer,
the email address.
exactly, your email address has the tag, and that's what makes it possible for you to use that discount code. For our UI, we don't care about the tags at all. We just care about the discount codes, and we want to make sure that we can see which ones have been used. And so yeah. So
Well, we'll want all of them because we'll need to show an active state for an unused code and a used state for a used code. I guess it depends on what you're meaning by used discount code.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So we would want this to instead be like Shopify codes, and this would be like Shopify discount code. And then the Shopify discount code would be the code, which will be a string, and that needs to be set. And used would be a Boolean. And that way we would get back we'll get back Shopify codes, will be an array of the available codes and whether or not it's used. And yeah. So the other question then would be, would it make sense to return all the codes and like just add a flag for whether or not it's available to the contributor? No, because that's just wasted transfer.
Yeah, I think all we need to know are which codes they have become eligible for and what state those codes are in.
Okay. No, I think that makes sense. Yeah. So we'll just have to, and we'll need to pull this each time. And I figured out how to do that by, let's see, I did some research over here. No, not that one. Which one was it?
Is this where you put up the whiteboarding? For now, yeah.
Yeah, so I did some research on how Shopify's GraphQL API works, and I figured out that we can create customers with this mutation. So this would be like what we would need to set. We just need to determine which tags are appropriate. We already have their first name and email because they give that to us on this form. So we get the first name and email, and we get whether or not they want our newsletter. And we would just need to determine what tags are appropriate. And then what comes back is the ID. And when we get this ID back, we would attach it to their GitHub username. So what that would mean is...
And at this point, you're talking about the hypothetical database.
The hypothetical database, right. Yeah. And so the hypothetical database would take this Shopify ID, and then we'd be able to use that ID to get back so we go into all their orders, and then we look back through the orders and we can see whether or not they've used a given discount code. And so that would give us the like visual indication, like, hey, you've already claimed this discount code. And so that would be, I think that would be, like, this is what comes back. Like, I ran this today against an existing customer and figured out what discount codes have been used, and this is the format. So,
okay.
So we would be able to basically take this and, return back on the other side. Like, here's the discount code they qualify for. Is that discount code in this array? If it's in this array, then this is true. So how are we going to do that? I think, so there are a couple major things that we got to do. The first one is that we have Shopify using REST right now, and so we want to convert it over to using GraphQL. And the second big thing that we need to do is get our actual database running. And so the database stuff, we can kind of mock up, which I think might be the easiest way to move ahead on that. Because then we can just kind of set it up and use it a bit and kind of get a sense for whether or not it's the right solution for what we're trying to do here. Oh my God, go away. Oh, the like control panel for Zoom has slid out and covered up my controls. Okay. So do you think, does that sound like a good move to you? Like, let's put this together.
Yeah. I think
okay. So to do that, we're going to jump into this Prisma stuff. So let's get into the data model, and I'm going to change this over to a contributor model. And the contributor is going to look like this. And what that gives us is, let's see here. So we've got their email, their GitHub username, their pull request count, and their Shopify codes. So these are going to be added dynamically. So what we really need to store for any given customer are these items. Does that sound... I think this is good.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay, so with that, I have Prisma installed, and what I think I need to do is, oh God, what is it? I think what I need to do first is Google. Let's go to Prisma.io, and we're going to look at their demo database stuff. We already got Prisma init, so change the data model. That's what we just did. So we made changes, and then we just run Prisma Deploy and Prisma Generate. So Prisma Deploy, let's add it locally. And then it wants me to use, okay, nvm use 8.10. And then we can do we have it? Yes. So Prisma Deploy. And so what this does is basically when you're first starting with Prisma, it sets up this like demo database for us. So we're using that for now, and then we'll move this over to another database. And since I was using this for some like toy stuff when I was working with Johannes from Prisma, I already have some data, so I'm just gonna just delete the data that was in there. Okay, so what that's done is it's given us like a new database. We have the potential to do subscriptions. Like Prisma's pretty slick, actually. And what we're going to do next is Prisma Generate. And Prisma Generate is going to build out in our client here. It builds out all of this stuff. So effectively what it's done is it's taken like that contributor information that we did, and it starts putting together all of this extra stuff. And it allows us to do a lot of really cool things, like, you know, now we can order by created, and we get indexes and all sorts of cool things. And it gives us a model that will allow us to do some cool stuff in here. So if I go back to my resolvers, we're already importing this Prisma client. And so I can say, we're going to rewrite this one. I am going to keep this because it's got all my Prisma cheat sheet stuff in here. But let's do get contributor. And we defined that in our schema over here as get contributor, and it accepts a GitHub username. And so this one is going to be an async function. We don't use the root. That's just like an old GraphQL thing that we don't need anymore. And it's going to give us a GitHub username. And out the other side, we are going to let's do this. And now we can do like get contributor or create contributor. And if we create that contributor, it's going to show us all the things that we need. these are the pieces that we need to include to create that contributor. So we can just like make one right now for testing purposes. So let's put in my info. And we'll add in my GitHub username.
Is that like an extension for Prisma?
So this is because Prisma does everything in TypeScript, VS Code just picks up the autocomplete.
Gotcha.
It's I would say that that like it would be worth doing TypeScript for everything, but like Johannes and I spent a solid hour trying to get this working with TypeScript before we gave up and went back to regular JavaScript. So I'm not 100% sold on TypeScript just yet, just because the level of effort is still pretty high. But okay, so what we've got now is we've got this this GitHub username, and I'm gonna be able to just create. I'm actually just gonna create manually, and then what we'll return is prisma.getContributor, and we'll get the contributor by what is it? Or I think I just need contributor. Contributor. Is it just the one? Back to the docs. Data model. So what I want to do is just load the one. And we did that by getting a single creator. And we put in the thing that we want to search for. So let's do that. We're going to get our one contributor, and we're going to go by GitHub username, and we'll actually use what gets passed in here. And if we get our way, what that should result in is us getting back this object. So let's start the server. And I broke things.
So why did you hardcode the GitHub username on 24?
Oh, because so this isn't actually, we're going to run this once and then we'll delete it.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that we want to avoid, I just want to have some data to query. So this is like manually adding data to the database, and then we'll comment this out.
I see.
But I just broke something, and it doesn't like get contributor. Oh, I know why. Because we didn't actually define the type. Okay, and so each of these can come back empty, so we'll do that. And I think that'll work. So now I should be able to go to localhost 3000 /playground. And we should be able to make the get contributor call and the GitHub username, and we'll do J Langsdorf. And what we get out the other side is going to be, it's GraphQL, so you got to use double quotes. So we get the username, we'll get the email, we'll get the pull request count, Shopify codes, and Shopify customer ID. And why doesn't it like this one? Because that is a Shopify code, so we need the code and the used. Uh-oh. And that doesn't make a ton of sense to me because it should be there. Let's figure out what Prisma generated. So we have multiple contributors. I wonder what causes that to happen. So we've got this contributor. Am I missing something obvious here? Prisma dot creator. That was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, from looking at the stuff that you have commented out below, it looks like it looks like we might be missing something. I don't know enough about Prisma to point it out.
Maybe you just do the one like that? So this should have created it. Cannot return null for non-nullable field. So something is missing.
The only one that wasn't. Go back to.
Let's see. So maybe what we can do.
The only ones were setting our email and GitHub username, but elsewhere, have we set it to require the Shopify ID and stuff? I don't quite remember where everything is.
It shouldn't be required. Let's look. So the only things that are required are the email and GitHub ID.
Yeah,
and
I was wondering if we accidentally made something required somewhere.
Those ought to come back null, and that ought to be fine. But I could be wrong. So what I'm going to try to do is just log this out directly, because maybe it is coming back and it's something in the way that we're returning things. So let's try it. That should error again, but we should now have some logging. And it just came back altogether null. So something is not right. Like something didn't work. Because there should be, like there really should be a contributor thing.
So I don't know how this client works, but this is generating locally. Is it connecting correctly to this demo database?
I mean, I think so. Like, because we've got all of these different pieces in here that appear to be doing the right thing. So we've got the contributor. Maybe we can just try like just a straight query and see what happens. Let's see, if I was going to do that, I would do that by, I think I can just run contributor. Can I do that? I feel like it's like this stuff is great. It works until it doesn't work, right? Let's find the query. And yeah, you just get contributors. So why is it only giving me, why don't I get a singular here? Like, do I need to just generate like a straight ID? I bet that's what it is. I bet we just have to put an ID on it. So let's do that. Let's do Prisma Deploy. Thinking awful hard over here.
So not knowing Prisma hardly at all. I don't think you had done deploy after the times that you generated.
That would be a great obvious problem.
And I just, by naming, I would think we would need to generate and then deploy, but maybe not.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I guess we can look at the thing here. Are there any requirements maybe? Aha! I forgot. They have this like unique tag, and I think you have to have at least one unique tag. Shit. All right. So I think this is my fault. I did silly things in here, and
I don't think I saw that in any of the commented out stuff that you messed with.
yeah. So I screwed around with this setup a little bit before you got on, and I like deleted some of the stuff that was in here before. So yeah, I think it's just my fault.
Just to play on hard mode for fun.
Yeah, sometimes I like to just make my life harder for the sake of adventure, I guess. I don't know. What's going on here? I'm not sure if it's timing out or what. I'm sending a message to Johannes at Prisma to be like, why is this hanging?
Be that guy.
I know. Hey, I'm doing something right now live and I need you to help me.
Yeah, that can't be right.
I mean, their website is up. Do they have a status thing? I don't know. There was also like a Prisma update, so maybe we'll just see if that helps.
There's lots of Prisma Deploy hanging results.
It doesn't look like there's a cache or anything. Did any of them look like they have a solution?
The one I just scanned through was medium long. I mean, it looks like a schema issue that maybe it just doesn't handle well. Like it hangs instead of giving feedback.
Database already contains a service with the name default and the stage default. Maybe I just need to rename something. Generate. Okay. Let's do the demo server. Put it in the US. Use JavaScript. And that put everything where? Okay, so this and this. So I'm just going to take this one. And all I really need is that guy, which is just the new database that I created. And so I'm going to take that, and I'm going to drop it on top of this. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is good. So I've got a new database, and I'm going to delete this one that I just created. And we're going to try this one more time. Prisma Deploy. Oh, there were problems.
Problems are better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Duplicate column name ID.
Duplicate column name ID. So that could be it. Maybe I just can't call it. Well, maybe I don't need the ID then. Let's try it.
Maybe what you were remembering was unique. In your mind, you said ID.
Entirely possible. And it has now applied the changes. So if I do Prisma generate, what happens? Okay. Now, if I come back in here, I get contributor, hooray! Oh man. Okay, so we have one contributor. We want the GitHub username, and we want the GitHub username to be the GitHub username. So let's just try that. And
that's really annoying that hung instead of.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, this is still fairly new software. So I think
I'm not dinging them at all.
Yeah, I also think part of it too is like I definitely didn't read the docs. Johanna showed me how to do it, and I'm like trying to remember what he told me instead of just reading the docs. So let's
Well, you
try,
did, in fact, half remember.
which is probably worse than having not remembered at all. Okay, so we've got this. Let's get back in here. I'm probably gonna have to I am gonna have to recreate that user because we just switched databases. So let's go back in here. Let's replay. And it did something, but not, like it didn't fail, which is better than we had before. So what changed? We got back null. This returned null. So
Well, you didn't fetch it. No, you did. Never mind.
yeah, so I created, got our contributor. Let's try again. So we got this. Get back our null again. Okay. So we want to create a contributor, and when we do that, you want the GitHub username, and you want an email. Like, are there other fields in here? Shopify
There's the
customer ID.
Shopify customer ID, but it's not required.
Yeah. All right, so let's try just that. What comes back from this? And then we can do that. And that's definitely going to fail. So let's return. Also, let's just make sure this works. So what we should see now, those come back null. We get our data. So the resolver works properly, and it did create a customer. So now we can hide this. We can get this back. Go to our contributor. Let's see if we get a contributor logged. And it appears that we did. So now let's return the contributor. Okay, so we've got some data. Data's coming back. That's what we want. What we need to do now is get the GitHub pull request. And since we don't have a Shopify customer ID, we would need to show the form, right? So that would kind of be the general idea here. So we would get our Prisma contributor, and then we would want in the GitHub, we have a method in here that I think we have a method that'll just get the number of counts or number of things. So that's to get open issues. This one is to get contributor info. So let's get the contributor info. Wait to get contributor info, and that one also gets, oops, the GitHub username. And we can that makes these parallel, or not parallel, that makes them sequential. Let's worry about getting data, and then we'll worry about performance optimization, yeah? Okay, so we've got our contributor data going back, so we can spread that. And then we want to also include GitHub pull request count. And that would be contributor info. Or wait. Total contributions. And so if we run that, we get back our total contributions. So now we have enough data that using this get contributor endpoint, we could display the store homepage, wherever it is, somewhere here. So we could show this now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing that we would need to do is add a mutation, and that mutation is going to take this information and create a customer. And when we create that customer, we would then need to add the Shopify ID.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that. So in our mutations, let's collapse that one. And we're going to create Shopify customer. Right? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that is going to return an ID. And the Shopify customer is going to be input, and we'll do Shopify customer input. This one is going to be, I wrote this down. Where is it? Here, we need, that's almost right. We need their first name. So we need the GitHub username, which is going to be kind of our North Star here. So the GitHub username, we're going to need their email. That's required. We need their first name. That's technically not required, but I feel like we should be consistent. And then what do we call it accepts marketing, and that's a Boolean, and that needs to be set. And then we also, I guess this would be what gets sent from the store. And then in the resolver, we're going to need to determine which tags need to be applied. So to actually run this, we need to get into the resolvers. And now that we've got a working example with Prisma, I can get rid of this example. And we can get rid of these. Or actually, I'm not going to get rid of those just yet because that's going to be part of what we're doing. We also need to figure out when we're going to actually call this part, like when they log in. Because we need to create that contributor when they first log in. So we'll have to figure out how to make that work. And then for these, I do think we want to like await promise.all on this, I think. But how? What is it going to be? It would be like const contributor info equals await promise.all. I think that's how that works.
I think you're right.
I don't know, let's test it and see. It's giving me a response. Let's see if it gives me a null if we do. Okay, so that's okay. But what it should do is... okay. So if or we don't have a contributor GitHub username, we should return null. And that, yeah, that's what we want. So now if it comes back null, what we can do is that could be the use case that triggers creating a customer. But I guess we could also do that with.
No, that makes sense. So on login, we could do get contributor, and then if there is none, it triggers the create.
Yeah, we would have to, and then we get their username and email from GitHub. So I guess no, that seems right. We make the request, and then we don't. That way, we don't waste cycles. We like assume that there will be an account created because that'll only happen the very first time they log in. And then on all subsequent visits, we're not doing that check. We just get the data back. And that seems like that would be manageable. Okay. So then in our mutation, what we need to do is we're going to add another one down here. And this one is going to be for creating the Shopify customer. And this one is also going to be async. Also not going to use the root. And it's going to get this, and this. What's the shortcut for this? Here? There. And that will, for now, return an ID. And so let's just check. Did I break it? Status code 400. Apparently we did break it. Oh, hold on, here we go. Type of mutation must be input type.
Create Shopify customer input must be input type.
That's my fault. I totally forgot about that. So in GraphQL servers, if you're going to pass these, they're an input type, not a regular type.
Okay.
So that's my fault. I forgot how to write GraphQL stuff. So let's go back here. That should get us back to normal. Create a Shopify customer, then we get an input, and the input should be GitHub username will be, actually it doesn't matter because this first one's not going to do anything. Email. Then we need the accepts marketing, and that'll be true, and the what was the other one? The
First name.
first name. That's right. And what we should get out the other side is an ID. Oh, that's right. This one just returns an ID. And it's going to come back with 1, 2, 3, 4. So, cool. That's what we want. Now we got to actually make it do stuff. And the way that we will make it do stuff is what's the right way? So what I want to do is let's see. Add to, what is it? Let's see. Run GraphQL on a server. I feel like there's a little helper that'll do this, and I'm trying to remember what it actually is. One of these is going to work. So we're not using graphical. Definitely don't want to try to do curl. This seems like it might be the right idea. So what I So this, I want it to be a standalone client. Don't want any of that. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is we'll just use Apollo link, I think. Why not? Let's go all in on Apollo. So I'm going to add Apollo link, and I'm going to add Apollo link HTTP. And do I already have the GraphQL tag? Yeah. And so what that should enable is I should be able to just make this call from right in here, where we've got Okay. So let's, how do I want to do this? Because what I ultimately want to do is refactor away all of the Shopify stuff. So maybe what I'm going to do is add a new file, and I'm going to call it Shopify GraphQL.js. And in this, I'm going to get execute and make promise from Apollo link. And then we need import HTTP link from Apollo link HTTP. And then we want to get the GQL tag from GraphQL tag. Okay, so then so this is the part that I think we have to figure out is, here's the GraphQL stuff. So we've got the GraphQL endpoint, which is this one here.
Which is what you're constructing.
Right.
Currently.
Well, actually, the way that we're constructing it for REST is going to be a little bit different, because we're going to have
Or the
to
equivalent, yeah.
we have to pass in this Shopify access token, and I think I need to update our access token. So that's okay. I can do that. So this is the actual URL, but we need to replace this with Gatsby swag, I believe. Yeah, Gatsby swag. And if we look at the Apollo link stuff, we've got, yeah. So let's just do, all right, I'm going to look off screen here real quick because I got to look at my, the NVARs. So bear with me for a second while I dig into that, just to make sure I know what we've actually got available. How do I do that? I'm going to go over here. And let's get into here. Oh, that's super annoying. Okay. It wants to open it in the same thing because I've already got it. Let's do, just going to open a new instance. API, and then I can do that. It's going to open over here, but I'm going to move it over here. Okay. So we already have the Shopify URI. And so this is going to be process.env.shopify URI. And then the token that we need is going to be a different one. So let me add a new one in here for Shopify GraphQL token. That's going to be this one. And then we will, in here, we want to use process.env.shopify GraphQL token. So we've got that. We've got the GraphQL token. We've got, what else do we need to do here? We've got, let's see. Do I have the ability to set headers on this? Because that's going to be a problem. Headers. Yep. Okay. So I can do So link equals HTTP link. I did this wrong. Link equals new HTTP link URI. So we need the URI, but then we also need the headers. And the headers that we're going to set are this X Shopify access token. And that one is going to be equal to this. And then we also needed to set this one. And what else? Is that it? Okay, so that should give us the ability to query. That should give us the ability to hit the Shopify API. And to test that, what we should do is let's do a query for something. Let's see, I've got one over here. Let's do a query for my customer data. We don't need any variables or anything here, so that should be fine. And what happens next? We want to execute. Let's actually do it like this. Await, make promise, execute, link operation. And we probably need all of that to be inside of a function. Right? Yeah, probably. Let's do get. And that'll be an async function that takes the link in the operation. And it's going to return link in the operation. But actually what we can do here is we can just export that, not run it there, and then bring it back to our resolvers, where we're going to import our new function from lib Shopify GraphQL. And to get our customer, we can just run get customer. Oh, crap. And I need that. Okay, that's a little dirty, but we're just going to make that work. Okay, so that should, in theory, give us the ability to actually query this. And there's our new token. Oh, I broke it. Can't resolve Prisma client lib. now. Okay. So, what we've done so far, are you following me? I feel like I'm kind of a little.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading about Apollo link HTTP because I haven't worked with it and I was off in my own little world reading
Yeah,
documentation.
no worries. Okay. So, what should be true now is if I do create Shopify customer, we should see a query get run that loads my customer ID from Shopify, I think. And so we run it. It doesn't explode. And here down below, we get a parse error on the operation name. Parse error on operation name. Do I have to provide an operation name? Let's look. Maybe I have to actually name it like query or something. Let's do query. Let's run it again. See if anything came back. Nope. Boy, it'd be cool if that was a... Maybe we can just return this because that'll be...
I just missed it. You did try adding a name after query.
Create Shopify customer. There we go. This is what we need. ID cannot represent value. No, that seems...
So did I miss it on Shopify GraphQL? Did you add a name after query and try it? You already did that.
Let's give it a shot. Parse error on operation name. Do we need to set an operation name? I mean, they don't look to be requiring operation names.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So just looking at the GraphQL main docs, it's only required in multi-operation documents. Which I don't think will be a problem here.
So maybe I should, let's see, those are all optional. Got that.
So most of, and this is what I was looking at before, most of the other stuff that I'm seeing about that HTTP link package was using create HTTP link and not new.
Wait, they support that? Like a create HTTP link?
So that's, I was just reading through the docs for the package itself.
I mean, that seems ideal to me, so let's try it.
I mean, I think we're getting past that point, but I was just looking at this and not sure, like maybe something with that isn't being executed.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let's see. Okay, error is the same?
The same.
No. Maybe. ID cannot represent value. That's actually no, there it is again.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Okay, what else could this be referring to?
So we've got that. What if we just take all that out and just see what comes back? That gives us a subscriber. And if we make promise, we get the same failure. Maybe with make promise we have to do something special. Although it really doesn't look like it, does it?
Are you doing anything with it?
Well, right now I'm trying to just return it, but I guess we can try this this logging function that they've got in here and see if that changes anything.
Well, that's new.
Yeah, it's because we're just let's see. So the error that's coming back is that there's a parse error on the operation name. What can we eliminate here? Like, am I missing something? HTTP link. It is a URI. It is a URI. And headers. Okay. So maybe it would just be easier to send this through Axios. I already have that, don't I? Yeah. And so if I import Axios from Axios, then what we could theoretically do is we could say that instead of this, it would be, let's see, axios.post, and then the URL would be this. And the body, how does the data work? Because I think I can just stringify that. Axios post. I think once we get this running, we might want to call it for the day and then come back and set up another time to do more on this. Because if I just want to send
Can you
in...
send me the link to that doc you were looking at when you started setting all this up originally?
Which doc?
When you started setting up the Shopify GraphQL file.
Like this part? Or
No.
this part?
No, it's the one you were referring to when you started that one.
Oh, God, what is that?
No, I think I saw where it was.
Here?
Yeah. This is a very confusing sidebar.
Their sidebar. Yeah, I know the Apollo team has made some...
That's a tough job. There's a lot there.
Yeah, they're making a lot of effort, I think, to fix their docs. I heard at the GraphQL Summit that was like a big focus for them going forward is to move them over. I actually heard they're moving them to Gatsby, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, legit.
Okay, so if I do this, and the data that I want to send in the post, where was my Axios docs? I want to be able to just send a string, like a straight up string. How are you going to let me do that? Because I know it's possible. So I wonder if I just like actually put the data in as a string, if it'll do it. I kind of just want to try it. Let's just try it. I'm going to do it. So we're going to do Axios. And I'm going to make this the URL. We're going to do the method as post. I guess it needs to be lowercase. Excuse me. And then the data is going to be here. And the headers are going to go up above it. And the headers will be just like this one. So I can copy them over wholesale. And I kind of think that's it. So let's, why don't you like that? So this would be the whole deal. We're making a post request to our GraphQL using the headers that we need to send, and this is our query. And that query should give us back our customer's ID. And so when that comes back, it will log. We're going to send back 1, 2, 3, 4, so we stop getting that error. And what we should see is that this gives us 1, 2, 3, 4. And in here, we get things. So this is cool. All right, so now we've got our response, and we should be able to do a response.data.customers, and what comes back in there. Ooh, that came back undefined. Let's do response. And we'll do null and 2. And that should give us a little more. Ah, crap. Okay. Maybe just response.data then. Okay, so there we go. We're getting back customer data, and
Oh, it's because it was data.data.
yep, so that was my fault. So we have response.data, good. And inside of this, if we do .data.customers, but really what we can do also is now we just have this, and so I can go in here and I can do customer ID here. And then what we should be able to do is get orders, and then edges, node, and ID. And what should happen now is that it would give us back so we have to do like the first 100 orders or something. Run that, and we get back all of my orders. So this is my order from the store that I've done. Cool. And then we should be able to also see like our discount codes and things like that. Mm-hmm. I've never actually used a discount code, so my account wouldn't show it. And I don't want to put anybody else's email address on blast on this stream, so we'll.
I mean, you could do mine.
Have you done the discount code?
Yeah. Okay. I think I did it a long time ago, and then I did.
Oh, you know what I should have done?
I've done it, I think, twice for Ink Team. So I should actually have some interesting stuff in there.
Wait, do you have non-public discount codes? Because we don't want to show those.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Never mind.
Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah. All right. So let's. I mean, like this is good. We've basically got this running now, and if we wanted to create, actually, let's just create a Shopify customer, and the way that we will do that is using that mutation that I put together in here. So that mutation here would allow us to take in, we've got the, so create Shopify customer. We're going to get back this information. We are going to use we're going to create a new one called export const create Shopify customer. And that is going to be this information, except it needs to be here. So that's what we need. That information is going to come out of here. So we can take all of this. Let's put those here. And then what we can do is we want to do, let's see. I don't love the idea of like using template literals to put these in, but I don't know that Axios is going to have great support for sending variables, and I also don't know if Shopify has support for getting variables. Yeah, I don't think they have support for variables. I think we just have to like dump things in directly, which is kind of gross, but we'll make it work. Yeah, that's fine. So let's do it like this. We're going to take the accepts marketing is going to be accepts marketing. The user's first name will be first name. The email will be email. And we're going to need to do a quick call to see whether or not they need the tags. So we can do const contributor info, and that will be the same as this call here. Oops.
I'm realizing how dependent I am on having an entire screen of my editor.
Yeah, I have to reduce the resolution on my screen to do these casts, and so
Yeah.
it's really challenging because like I feel
It's so hard to tell where you are.
yeah, it's like yeah, there's a lot of just trying to remember what I was looking at. But yeah, so okay, we've got the contributor info, so we can await that, and then we need to make sure that we're actually importing that from. Let's see, we're not using any of this anymore. So instead, we're using import or get contributor info from GitHub. And once we get that contributor info, we can say, let's see, tags equals, let's see, do we want to get clever with this or do we want to get...
Let's say no.
Okay, so our available tags are going to be contributor, and so I guess what we can do tags is just an empty array, and then if let's also get we just want to get like total contributions out of the contributor info. So if total contributions is greater than 0, we're going to, let's see, tags push. I feel dirty mutating an array. Okay. And then if total contributions is greater than or equal to 5, we will add the tag, let's just call it level 2. So this,
What's the saying? Make it work, then make it pretty or something.
yeah. Let's get that in here, and then these will be our tags. So we've got does that do what I want it to do? Yes. Okay, good. So we're going to stringify those tags, and what we should get out the other side is the customer ID. So we have that mutation, and we can come down here and we can just do the same thing. So we're going to return Axios, and we can pull out all of this information, which means that it's ripe for a refactor because we are duplicating a lot of stuff here. And then our data is going to be the mutation. I think that's everything, which means that we should get back. So we will, here, we're going to create the Shopify customer. This I'm going to change to create Shopify customer. Make sure that that's actually what we called it. Create Shopify customer. And what that will give us, oh shit. So this one, and here, so there should be 2, 3. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't explode in my face. So we've got.
I think that's only called in one place. I think that should be fine.
That's what I think. So we've got our Shopify customer. Shopify customer is going to take all of these arguments, so we can just. In fact, why don't we just do this? Let's do customer data, and then we can just drop that straight in instead of destructuring and then passing it in and all that good stuff. And so what we should get from that is we should get our response, and the response that we should receive here should be the customer data. So we should be able to do response, and then down here I want to be able to do data. Do I need data again? No, I need customer ID, I think. Okay, first try. Let's see if it works. Already have errors. This is good.
Yeah, did you change something that would make it not?
Await get contributor info, which means that I forgot to mark it as async, I think. Yep. Okay. So in here, moment of truth. Let's create our imaginary Shopify customer. So they're going to have, I created one of these a while ago. So that way we don't accidentally put somebody in a position where they don't have. Let's see. And so
I feel like we're using like a Reddit name.
Oh no.
Oh.
What? Did I delete something?
You took out some of those imports.
Oh, because we had all this stuff that was duplicated that we weren't actually using. So we've got all of this. None of that is actually used. So that was just undefined stuff. That's there. This is all here. And that actually doesn't do what we think it does. So let's run this one more time. Okay, how close did we get? Accepts marketing, has an invalid value.
Type customer input.
Okay. And that means argument type on infield customer create has an invalid value. So what I did wrong is apparently input accepts marketing.
What did you send in the playground?
In the playground,
Yeah.
does it just need to be expected type Boolean found true? So that worked. But for some reason,
That's strange.
Yeah. How would I send true? Like if I just write true, does it work? Well, now I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Cannot read property ID of undefined. Didn't create the customer. Why didn't it create the customer?
Yeah.
So we want
you could go back to response.data for that. Yeah.
But I think I want.
So why did you change it where it wouldn't be response.data.data?
Well,
Did I miss that?
Yeah, because it's a different query now. So we get back the 1, 2, 3, 4, but we.
No.
Customer
It's saying
create.
loading merged PRs from @undefined.
That's weird.
Which looks like the first problem.
It does indeed look like the first problem. Let's username. Let's see if that's coming through. GitHub username is undefined, so create Shopify customer.
Wait, is it because it's a GitHub name that doesn't
Oh, god damn it. No, it's because what is coming in is input. Jesus. Okay, so what is happening is we have create Shopify customer, and we're actually getting the input. And so we need to pass through the input, and the input has the graph, like the customer data.
Mm.
So the listed users cannot be searched because the users do not exist.
That makes sense.
Okay, so that makes more sense. Did it create our user? So we actually got our data. That's good. Let's see, create a Shopify customer. So we get contributor info. We did not get, let's see.
But since we're doing create Shopify customer without having created the contributor.
Well, it should let us create the customer, though. I want to see if it's getting back contributions here. So let's try it. It runs.
Well, it shouldn't because it doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm. Validation failed. Oh, this is GitHub. GitHub doesn't like that we're searching for a user.
Right.
Okay, I thought this was Shopify. That makes this makes more sense to me. I could have sworn that user existed though.
You did 0001.
Aha. Okay. One of them is also like a member of the GitHub. They're the Gatsby organization. I created like 5 of these when I was building this API originally. So let's go
I
back.
think the one you were sending had 3 zeros.
Aha.
Yeah.
You're too helpful, copy paste. Okay, so we've got that came back. We created a customer. So let's go into the Shopify admin and let's look at customers. And let's get into throwaway. So here we go. So we did just create our customer. We didn't create any tags because the customer didn't have any tags. So let's maybe modify this. We've got throwaway 02. Yes. Okay. So let's take throwaway 02. But for throwaway 02, I want to fake contributions. So total contributions should be, let's say, 8. And let's see if we get the tags. Okay, so in here, I should have a throwaway 2 now.
Hmm.
And throwaway 2 has level 2 and contributor.
Tags.
So,
Nice.
cool. So the last thing that we want to do is make sure that we actually get our data back. So maybe what we should actually do is we want to return the customer's ID so we can await this. And then what we get out the other end is we can do, let's see. I guess we would want to check if there are errors. So if response.errors,
I actually gotta go. I didn't realize it was 8 after 5.
oh yeah, it is time, isn't it? Yeah.
But will you push this when you wrap up?
Yeah, I'll just, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it to return the customer ID, and then I'm going to stop. I'll save this. I'll open up a work in progress PR, and we can call this done.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll pick another time and just keep cranking on this later.
Yeah. And then can I, offline, I'll just ask you for some of the credentials so I can
So you
mess
can run
around
it.
with it.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thanks for tagging along.
Rubber ducking.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see you.
Bye.
Okay, so I'm going to take a couple shortcuts here, and if we don't have errors, I'm going to say that I guess we can just return the response.data. Wait, is it double data? Hold on. Response.data, yeah, so it fully is like response.data.data.customer create customer ID. And so what this should allow us to do is straight up return this, and that should be a functional, like this should give us a real deal. So let's check and make sure. I think I got another one of these in here somewhere. Throwaway 03, maybe. Yep. And let's get rid of that hard-coded contributions. And let's rock and roll. Okay, so I screwed something up. What did I screw up? Contributions was 0. Let's see if the call succeeded. Okay, so the call straight up failed, which means something else is wrong. That doesn't make any sense. Let's do the JSON stringify thing. And what happened? No, it failed. It didn't like it. It's because I'm using the same Oh, it's because I'm using the same name. Let's try it. Still doesn't like that, but let's see. No, it doesn't like that either. So this should have worked, and it didn't. And it didn't because the email address is a duplicate. So let's try that one more time. And we get back an ID. So what would need to happen at this point is we would get this ID back. So we need to store the ID in the Prisma database. And that would be it, I think. Aside from just a general refactoring, because this is kind of a slightly janky nightmare right now. Okay, so let's do it. Let's call this a stopping point. What all did we get done today? We've got our Prisma stuff, the generated things from Prisma that we don't. Hold on. I don't need these, do I? User. Yeah, this is the stuff that was when I tried to bail out and get back to an initial thing. So this is our Prisma data model that we landed on. Nice and simple. We've got the basic YAML in place. So hitting that database stores everything in the Prisma client. We get the Prisma client down here. This is stuff that we never actually have to touch. It's just the generated things. In here, we've started using Axios so that we can put things down. Oh shit, this is, how do I, just add another to do. So we want to be able to add this accept marketing in here. Don't need those anymore. And okay, so we've got some definite to-dos here that we need to deal with. But I'd say this is pretty good for a day. So we ended up not using the Apollo link stuff, so we can drop that. We do need the Prisma client lib, so we can keep that. So let's add that one. I'm going to run yarn one more time just to drop that Apollo stuff. Okay, add that. We've got our Prisma model. We've got our Prisma config. And let's just commit that with basic Prisma setup. Okay. And then we've got our, oh shit, what branch am I on? Okay. So what I'm going to do then is, how do I, let's see, get, check out the level 2 swag. Let's pull that over. Oh, okay. And then that's fine. And then we want to do, let's see. So we pulled in our new create Shopify customer. We've got the Prisma client coming in. We added our new create contributor, or like our get contributor stuff, so that we can pull in the contributor's information. We set this up to run in parallel so that it's not running like sequentially. Make sure that we've got a contributor, otherwise we return null. If we've got a contributor, we return their details, which is the email and GitHub username, plus their GitHub pull request counts. We also added in the create Shopify customer resolver, which uses that stuff that we will look at over here in Shopify GraphQL. So this is the create Shopify customer stuff that we've been looking at the most today. Takes some details. This and this being stuff that we store in our local local database, and then this being something that helps Shopify. And then we have the total contributions, adding tags if they meet our contributor levels. Set up our mutation, send that off to Shopify, and then we take the data and return it. So we can add that. In our schema, we just defined the ability to get a contributor. We're not actually doing the test thing, so we can skip that. We have our create Shopify customer, and then we've got the input, so what we need to create the customer. We've got the contributor data, which is what can come back from the get contributor info. And we've got the Shopify discount code, which is we haven't gotten to yet. It's there as kind of a placeholder for now. So we can add that. We've got, at the moment, nothing really changed here. We've just got some notes. This whole file is new. This is the generated stuff from Prisma. So we're just going to commit this kind of wholesale. This is what gives us the like autocomplete and stuff in there. And this is a very comprehensive, all the different things you can do. So kind of Prisma is like if you've ever used an ORM, it's pretty similar to that. So with that, we can say feature add get and create support for Shopify customers. Okay, so we can take that, and I'm going to do a git push origin feature level 2. Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's gross. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fix it. Git checkout b feet level 2 swag. Push origin feet level 2 swag. Let's look at this, and I want to pull request it. Let's see, this adds support for creating and reading Shopify customers. This is related to I guess it's just the parent one. Let's see, we'll do Amberley. And let's create it. Make that a do not merge. Do I not have a? Sure. Okay. So it's work in progress. We've got our changes here in case anybody wants to take a look at those. And with that, I think we're going to call this one done. So thanks everybody for jumping on and watching this. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter, and this will be posted on YouTube as soon as I have a chance to export it. So sometime in the next day or two. Thanks, y'all. Bye.